Well, g'day guys, I'm here with Shaune Clark, otherwise known as Speaker Trainer Shaune, here on the Peter Montgomery Show. I've just actually sat through a half day, or pretty much a full day now, of one of Shaune's trainings. And yeah, so we're just going to have a chat and find out who he works with, what he does, and how he helps people. So welcome to the show.
Thank you, Peter. Good to be here.
So thanks for taking the time and inviting me down here to sit in on one of your actual trainings. Can you tell us a bit about the type of people that you work with?
Yeah, I mean, ultimately it's a entrepreneur or somebody looking to be an entrepreneur who wants to achieve what I call maximum leverage. One of the things that you would have just saw me cover there, Peter, is this idea of an entrepreneurial treadmill, everybody, that I've recognized three types of people as entrepreneurs. Two are on an entrepreneurial treadmill, and one other has this luxury lifestyle, you might call it. And when I say luxury, it's not necessarily driving Porsches and living on an island like Richard Branson. It's just having the time and money to live your life. That, to me, is a luxurious lifestyle. The more money you add to that, the better. But just achieving time and money is a big thing. And again, so to me, there's three types of entrepreneurs. One is the entrepreneur who is time poor and money poor, doesn't have money or time. Then the other is an entrepreneur who has money, but doesn't have the time, is time poor, and there's lots of those. And then there's this rare breed of entrepreneur that has figured out maximum leverage in their business and in their life. And so I guess if I was to answer really, Peter, what I really help people do is really get straight on how to use speaking to achieve that maximum leverage so people can have both the time and the money. Okay,
and so, because I've been on that treadmill, and I know a lot of people out there, they're on the treadmill now. How do you overcome that? How are you helping people specifically? What are some of the things that they're getting out of your sessions and out of your training programs? Yeah, that maybe they're not getting at other places because they've probably done 5 different things already.
Sure. First of all, wow. First of all, I deliver on the promise. I have to say that. So when you say to me, because people come to us often who have spent $50, $80, $100,000. I was just talking about a woman in Perth who spent $120,000 on courses, both personal and professional, and still is on the entrepreneurial treadmill. And so to answer your question, one of the reasons that I still don't have a website is because I have so many raving fans. And the reason and I'm not saying that to put myself off as something better than, just as encouragement for people to know that it actually is possible for somebody to deliver on the promise. And so when you say that to me, it makes me sad that people, the way I word it, Peter, is that there's well-intentioned entrepreneurs, perhaps you're one of them, who haven't had their promise delivered on. So they've spent money going with an intention that it was going to create this lifestyle or this impact or this type of meaning, and it hasn't happened. And so my first reply to you is I deliver on the promise. In fact, I talk about getting the 4 things right, and the last thing is to make sure you over-deliver on the exaggerated expectations of clients. That you should never, ever, ever be satisfied with having satisfied clients. Because satisfied clients don't do the one thing that helps you get off the entrepreneurial treadmill, which is rave about you adamantly. So one of the things I help people to do is understand how to achieve a business model. That's really what the 4 things is. A business model that at the end of it produces, and I mean, I know it sounds easy. Everybody says you need a raving fan. I'm talking about actually reliably producing a adamant raving fan to the point where when somebody, you go refer somebody and they say, oh, no, I've already done this with this person, or that's too much money, I can't afford that, or I'm too busy. And they go, no, you don't understand. You have to do this. This is going to change things for you. You've got to go see that Peter, or you've got to go see Mary, or you've got to go see David, or in my case, you've got to go see this Shaune guy. Like, he's different. Like, it's true. I'm not like anybody else in speaker training. And and then to better answer your question, Peter, what I actually deliver is showing people really, really how to get up in front of a group of people and reliably generate revenue with that out of what I call a well-crafted presentation. A well-crafted presentation is the missing link. My business partner, Clorinda, was watching me for a couple of years as a speaker, and had enrolled in a $25,000 speaker training. And in that speaker training, they were asked to reverse engineer the speaking processes of 10 different speakers. And I was one of them. And so I didn't know this when I first met her, and so I asked her, how are you like the others, or how am I like the other speakers? I've never been trained as a speaker. And she said, oh, Shaune, you're not like the others at all. In fact, when I watched the first 3, I noticed they're all just doing the same thing. But every time I watch you, you're doing something. I take new notes. I've seen different things you're doing, and you land so authentically. And as if this is some type of revelation. Like, when you're speaking, shouldn't that be how you show up? And so, honestly, I've just sorted out what it was that I was doing in an unconsciously competent way, so that people can show up on stage authentically who they are, but effectively demonstrate their value in what I call a well-crafted presentation. When Clorinda said this to me, and then she said, you really should have your own speaker training. My response was, geez, that's going to take like 3 months to put together. The world doesn't need another speaker training. And then I thought about it, and I said, the world doesn't need another speaker training. But what the world does need, and what you need as an entrepreneur, and I believe everybody should be speaking, even if you're afraid of public speaking, it is maximum leverage, and you can overcome those fears. But even if you're considering getting up in front of a group of people, you're doing yourself and your audience a great disservice if you don't have a well-crafted presentation that aptly communicates your value. So what I said to Clorinda was, the world doesn't need another speaker training, but somebody's got to put together a level of understanding about what a well-crafted presentation is, because I saw it all too often where speakers would have an opportunity for maximum leverage. They would be up in front of the same audience as me, and they were brilliant, but because they didn't aptly communicate that value, they weren't able to convert some of those audience into paying customers, whereas I always had the good fortune of producing that. And I realized it wasn't normal for speakers to have a well-crafted presentation. So how do I help people? First of all, I over-deliver on their exaggerated expectations, so they too will become raving fans. We have an 80% to 100% referral rate for exactly that reason. I was just in Perth, and everybody that was there on referral. And that's what you want. And so I over-deliver the exaggerated expectations of my clients, but then really give the tool, the well-crafted presentation, and an understanding of how to be your authentic self, and what I call the 7 pillars of exceptional speaking, so that you can actually get up in front of even a small group of people, of 10 to 12 people, at a time, once a month. Literally, that's what I'm talking about. Getting up in front of 10 to 12 people once, twice a month, and generating 6 figures from that part-time. It's a missing link. It's really a missing link, that if every entrepreneur was utilizing that tool, that maximum leverage tool, we'd eliminate the entrepreneurial treadmill.
Now, there's something you said there that you talked about in your presentation as well, the 12 people. So it's something different. Like, everyone's out there saying, we can fill rooms, and you've got to fill a room, you've got to do all that sort of stuff.
Right.
Now, you really kind of, is that a new realization that you've come across? Or like you've spoken in some big stages, like you've spoken with Richard Branson?
Yes, I have.
Which is like, always a nice little thing to say.
It is. We might mention that once or twice more.
Yeah, you never know. And what was that? That was a Century 21 or?
Century 21.
Yeah, that's right. Now, so what's the benefit of the smaller group? The 12 is kind of like you said, a max. Like you'd almost say 10 is preferable.
Yeah.
Could you talk about the dynamics?
Yeah, and it is new, Meg, because I have spoken World Internet Summit, universal events, hundreds of people, thousands of people at the Richard Branson event. And there's lots of compromise in that for me. The biggest one is you can't possibly connect and build trust with those large audiences. And because generating revenue in speaker training or in speaking really comes down to not that many people. I mean, just think about having a workshop where you're even charging $2,000 for a workshop. When I was doing my independent interviews workshops or coaching, it was $4,000. So $2,000. Everybody has a $2,000 workshop in them. You have a $2,000 workshop in you, I promise. And even if you have 15 people there, it's $30,000. In 2 days, you've generated. So, I mean, it's all too obvious that if you can get 15 people converted into a workshop, you can make very good money. 30 grand if you did that once a month, 30 grand a month. Who doesn't want to do that? And so you don't need many people. So the magic element there is conversion. Conversion. And when you're speaking to big groups, I talked about that today here at the training, and I don't often talk about it, but in the big groups, you know, if you have it at a $4,000 price point, I'll say, if you have a 10 to 12% conversion, that's considered exceptional, right? If it's $2,000, then it might be, the conversion might be slightly higher than that. But the point is, you always have higher conversion in a small group. So, you know, if you have 12 people and you have, I mean, we have clients, it's normal for us to have clients with a 30 or 40% conversion in a group of 10 to 15 people. So if you think about that, 40% of 12 people is what? 6, 4, 5, 4, 5, yeah. And so let's say that it's even just a $2,000 workshop and it's just 4 people. Well, that's $8,000 in a 2-hour presentation generated. Who doesn't want to make that kind of money? On the other hand, you can spend all the time, energy, and money it takes to get, let's say, 50 people in a room and have a 10% conversion. And then you've got 5 clients, but you've got all the time, energy, money, and expense of facilitating getting 50 people. It doesn't make sense. It's some type of an ego-driven thing of the big audience. Now look, I'm a wannabe rock star. I love performing in front of a big audience. So, you know, it's one of the reasons that I spoke at the Richard Branson event, to have that. It's a thrill. But you don't have to do that to generate a 6 or even 7-figure revenue. So it's really kind of that simple. It's just easier. It's just easier to generate 6 figures in small groups. It's just easier.
And what about the dynamics of the group? How does that change things within the group? What have you experienced that you get in that small group that you're not getting in one of those big groups?
Yeah, it's a good question. In any group dynamic, you know, I talk about giftedness, and there's actually a gift of facilitation. When you have the gift of facilitation, you understand and can facilitate the group dynamic. And in a small group, there's questions and answers and interaction between me and select audience members. And other people in the room are benefiting from that, and will even have what I call a bounce-off question. So, you know, Carrie might ask one question, and I give that answer, but then Kat might ask me another question. You know, so, I mean, I could go on for quite a bit about that, but long story short, there's added learning in a small group environment because of the group dynamic that you can't get even one-on-one, because you don't have the other participants and their influx or influence into the situation, and you certainly can't get it in a big group because you don't even have that exchange. So the small group affords a stunning opportunity for interaction. And if you want to know the truth, Peter, I don't know if everybody watching this will get this, but it's just more humane. You know, it's kind of like the speaking industry. It's a bit of a cattle call. They're just ramming a bunch of people in a room. It's kind of like, to be honest, it's kind of like in network marketing, you know the phrase they use? We'll throw a bunch up on the wall and see who sticks. Now that is just, it's inhumane. It's opportunistic. It's greed-based, you know. It's just like, it's what's in it for me. I'm just going to ram a bunch of people through this seminar and just see how many I can get to give me money. It's not very respectful. It's not very honoring. It's really inhumane. And so in a small group dynamic, first of all, you're much more on display. People really get who you are because of the intimacy in a small group dynamic. So, you know, if you don't want people to know who you are, hide behind a website, hide behind a big audience where there's not that intimacy. But if you're a person of congruency and integrity, and you have great value, then it's a great value to everybody involved. Yourself, the participants in the training. Everybody gets a better result. And I guess at the end of the day, that's what I'm most interested in. I love a great audience, a big audience, don't get me wrong. But my primary motivator is to get people off the entrepreneurial treadmill, and that's better afforded in a small group where we're building trust, we're building a relationship, all of that. Everything is more dynamic in a small group.
Now, you've been in the industry 20, 25 years speaking.
A quarter of a century, mate. I love saying that.
So a quarter of a century, mate.
Quarter of a century.
How have you seen things change? Like, what's the state of the speaking industry now? And kind of being a little bit specific here, because my objective with the show now is I've been around a little bit, done a few episodes, spoken to a range of speakers, and I kind of want to shine the spotlight on who I consider, in my opinion, to be the good guys. Right? You gave us a list of 5 types.
Oh, yeah.
Can we talk about that list?
Yeah, sure.
And get your opinion on it, and we'll go after that.
Okay, so these are the 5 ways that you'll see people demonstrate their value from stage. Let me go back a little bit to when you said, what's the state of the industry?
Yeah.
It really needs an overhaul, mate. It really does. First of all, attendance is down, but I'll tell you what's really happened. The good guys have got pushed out. And there's a lot of the greedy people left. And they're hammering to get what they can get left of the seminar industry, but it's not as robust as it used to be. And that's because people have been disappointed, even manipulated, taken advantage of. I would even call it abused. And in 2013, I'm going to put on an event called the Maverick Mind Entrepreneurial Blueprint. And my goal in that event is to have a big event where there will be lots of people, but that everybody walks out of there really feeling contributed to, not taken advantage of. And my goal, so you know, Peter, so you can call me out on this if it doesn't happen.
Yeah, well, it's not going to be on camera.
Right.
And displayed for the world.
Right. I won't do it until I know for sure that the day after I finish that Maverick Mind Entrepreneurial Blueprint event, the day after I finish that, or the next day, everybody in the seminar business knows the industry has forever changed. And has changed to a more humane way, that it can be done humane, you can contribute, you don't have to manipulate, you can actually give and still be profitable. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm a great exhibition of it in small groups. I'm just going to take that model to a larger audience. And, you know, there will be small little breakout sessions, that sort of thing. But I bring that up because when we get to the 5 ways that people demonstrate your value, everybody will see it's less than humane, it's opportunistic, it's greedy, it's dearly manipulative in some instances. So let me roll through them. The first one is fear. So you'll see presenters who talk about, you know, something bad is going to happen basically if you don't enroll with me. That's kind of the tone. The second one, which I saw a lot, is exaggerated promises, where people are making promises they can't possibly deliver on. And if I can say, I won't mention names, but
you can if you want. If it's to protect me, I don't care.
For fear of my life.
Yes, okay. If it's for you, that's okay. For me, say what you want.
Right. I'll just say this, that a lot of the times on these circuits and the big name people, they tend to, quote unquote, sell very well. I don't even like using that word because then it puts me in that box. But I'll use that here. But they also have a very high refund rate. So a lot of this seminar industry of asking people for money, it's actually built on underdelivery. The promoters actually know that the people they put on stage are going to generate, let's say, 100 sales, but 40, 50, or 60 of them are going to ask for a refund. But they're willing to make their money off of the remaining people who just didn't bother to ask for a refund. That's just wrong. And it's all too common. Now, I'm not saying the whole industry is like that, and I'm not saying that there's not great presenters and there's not great promoters. There is. But there is an unfortunate, very unfortunate overpopulation, I'll say, of that type of consciousness. So, exaggerated promises is number 2. Number 3 is the, I learned this from a client actually, she called it the fame game. And the fame game is basically when a presenter gets up, they don't teach you anything. They just roll through their history, their story, the success stories of their clients. They even have photos of people they hang out with. Sometimes it's for me to the ridiculous. And they don't really teach you anything. They're basically just saying, look how great I am. You should follow me. You should enroll with me because look how great I am. The problem I often have with that is the success that they have had is often dated. Even 2 years ago for me is too dated. Certainly 5 years ago. And I can point to people who are still proclaiming to be good at what they do on a story that happened a decade ago. So that's the fame game. Number 4 is the one that really bothers me, and I saw it all too often when I spoke at the Richard Branson event. There's these couple of guys that are just genius at it. They're genius. Admittedly, I wish they were using their genius for better things. But we actually reviewed some of these people on DVD. I had a master practitioner in NLP and hypnosis, and I want to be really clear that NLP and hypnosis has tremendous value in many, many ways. I'm working with a coach now, and she has forever changed my life and uses some of that. So, you know, where it's appropriate, where it has value, it's stunning. It's just absolutely, unequivocally abused. And I didn't even know to the degree it was being abused until I had an master NLP practitioner and hypnotist review a couple DVDs of people who use it. It's constant, everybody. Like, it's shocking that these people would intentionally try to take away conscious choice from an audience, and they do try to do it repeatedly over and over and over and over again in order to get the audience to embody what is their choice for them, which is to buy their stuff. And look, I've got no problem with people buying stuff, but I think it should be their choice. Not having that's inhumane to take choice away from them, from an audience. So to me, the way that I teach, is the 5th way, is humane. And it sounds all too obvious. It's just not taught, unfortunately. But I've reverse engineered how I was doing it so I can pass it on to others. And it's as simple as achieving authentic levels of trust and authentic levels of enthusiasm in an audience. And believe it or not, that doesn't exist. Nobody has mapped out the formula for that until my business partner and I reverse engineered my process over 10.5 weeks. And literally, when people come to our, we might call it 2/3 of a day training, I just lay that out for people. So really, it's achieving authentic levels of enthusiasm, authentic levels of trust in something I call an emotional momentum chart. That's the 5th way to do it. And to me, it's of those 5 choices, the only one that's really genuine, authentic, and humane.
Okay. That's a lot. That's a lot of stuff, man. And just an insight into the industry from someone in the industry that's been in so long. Like, guys, I just really want you to pay attention to what he's just said. If you sort of went over it a bit quick, go back and listen to that last section, because there's a lot of people there that have been basically ripped off. And I want to say, I sat down today with Shaune, and I've sat down with you, and your whole process, like what you're saying, you know, about the authenticity, and I've spoken to a lot of speakers, and you've got it in spades. And I guess I would compare you along the lines of, for other guests that I've had on the show, you're sort of more in line with, say, the Dale Beaumonts, the James Schramkos. There's another guy, Jerry Robert, another Canadian, that are coming from that place of authenticity, that have been around a long time. Well, James Schramko isn't really a speaker anymore. He's sort of moved out of that industry for that reason. So I got it firsthand. What I got out of your whole process, your sales process, everything else, is I felt totally, I don't know if it's a strong, I felt loved in that situation.
Nice.
As opposed to feeling guilty for saying no to an offer, or feeling obligated that I need to buy this thing. I felt like it was okay to say yes. I felt like it was okay to say no. And I just want to say, man, like, I really respect that in you. And I want you guys to understand, you know, like, my stamp of approval, if it means anything to you, this is the man. This guy's doing excellent things and has actually got a lot of value to offer. So
can I elaborate on that for a second?
Yes.
You can't pass by saying that you felt loved. And you know what? I've never outed this, but you brought it up. You were brave, Peter, to say that. And I'm getting a shiver. The truth is, when somebody shows up in my room, I do love them. That's really the truth. You know, I've had my own personal journey through life, and not all of it's been easy. You know, I almost died 20 years ago. And, you know, my first website was called lifeofchoice.com. And all I've ever wanted to do in my life was to help people get free, get off the entrepreneurial treadmill, and be the contribution that they can be. And so when somebody puts their trust in me and wants to come to my training, and I know that they have all kinds of other things to do with their time, energy, and money, and they spend $97, even though I deliver $500 or $1,000 worth of value, even though I don't take that for granted, I feel like I respect them for having done that. And I want to over-deliver. And part of it is I feel like, and I think, you know what's interesting, Peter, and I'm so happy you bring it up because you've given me permission to talk about it. I think other people feel it, but it's so foreign that they almost can't believe they're feeling it. This is like you even hesitated, you know? It's like, But I think if people are being honest, because I feel it from them. At the end of the day, like we even talked about it, you know, a small group of people here, but the love in the room, you can feel this energy. It's a beautiful feeling. And the reason I do this, because there's lots of ways for me to generate revenue in my life, but nowhere do I know where I get to facilitate this idea that if I have wisdom to offer, if there's something I can do to support somebody in getting off of the treadmill and achieving maximum leverage, that's a great privilege to me. And I believe I can support people in doing that. And so when somebody ends up here in this room to come and hear me speak, here's what I know. They're not very far away from making a great contribution in the world. And because I become a fulcrum. I help people go from having wisdom and knowledge and great value to deliver to people, and I become a fulcrum of taking that human being and helping them to craft their message and their joy and their passion in a way that's authentic for them, but communicates it to an audience. So an audience will see fit to have what I call a meaningful exchange. And the meaningful exchange is they spend money with you, and they get their problem solved. It's really kind of that simple. What the hesitation people have around spending money is that it's what I call unwarranted sales resistance. They just are used to having people under-deliver to them. So if you actually want to do well in the world and contribute to the world and over-deliver their exaggerated expectations and do that for a group of people who are once hesitant, and then you over-deliver, it's almost like we contribute to mankind in bringing back belief and goodwill to people simply by communicating and delivering, if not over-delivering, value. And so I invite you to come and feel the love.
No, that's awesome, man. Like, what I get from your offer, this is what it is. I'm a very details-oriented person. I make decisions generally because it makes sense, and I can see myself having success taking someone up on their offer, whatever that happens to be. And one thing I've learned is to take offers that will help me with my immediate problem that I need to solve now, rather than jumping on something that's going to make me spend the next 6 months trying to figure things out and make me more confused than I already am. So I generally will take an offer if it solves my problem now. And the best offers to me are just ones that's like, you communicate the value. It's a straight up offer at the end, and there it is. And I see that you really do that, and I see that you really care. So if someone really wants to dig into your training, what's the core thing they're going to take away from coming to say like your 2-day or your 3-day thing? What's the one big thing that they're going to get? You talked about that.
Well, let's invite everybody to come first, not to the 2 or 3 day thing, to the half day, or we'll call it two-thirds of a day thing, because that's necessary in the process. Today we had gold medal winning Olympian Carrie Pothurst here.
Who do we have?
Gold medal winning Olympian Carrie Pothurst, who is referred by, it's, look, Carrie and these other people. We had one gal here, Kat, saying, Shaune, do you have normal people that come to your trainings? Yeah, we have 95% of our people are, well, they're not normal. They're beautiful, blessed human beings, but they don't necessarily have celebrity status. And so now I'm actually attracting this celebrity group of people. And so Carrie was here, gold medal winning Olympian. And where was I going with that?
Talk about the one big thing. What people you say not to so much to come to the 3-day thing.
Oh yeah. And so yes, so Sarah, who is Nat's partner, Nat Cook, 5-time Olympian, gold medal winning Olympian, who was Carrie's partner. She didn't feel like she needed to come to the half-day training, and Sarah said, Shaune, she's okay. She's just going to come to the 3-day. And I said, no. I really want Nat to come to the half-day, because here's what I hope people get from coming to the half-day. First of all, several pages of usable notes, not just things that they learn, but things they can use regardless of whether they participate in the 3-day training or not. So I over-deliver on the exaggerated expectations of people. For $97, everybody does actually get at least a $500 training. So there's lots of great speaker training value in that most people would offer in a $2,000 to $5,000 training. So that's one thing people get. The other thing, though, I think everybody gets, and Kat said it today. She said, I used to think that this life of generating revenue and having the time was way off for me. God love her for being committed to what she considered to be, probably a 10-year journey. And I think what she said, and what I think a lot of people get, is it actually doesn't need to be that long of a journey. You have a wisdom in you. You have what I call an unconscious competence. Your life experience has taught you things. We have people say, oh, I don't have a PhD, I haven't written a book, I haven't this, I haven't that. No, but you are a genius, you have an effortless brilliance, you are uniquely gifted. All we need to do is unpack that and bring that to the world. We had a gal in Perth, she has the gift of giving. It's not even, a common gift, but her understanding, without having any university degree, of kindness and harmony and somehow wisdom. She wants to teach kids kindness, wisdom, and harmony. That's totally unique, totally unique. And all she had to do was unpack that. And she's got this brand new offering that doesn't exist in the world, because that's hers. Oh, Peter, I got to go off. It's come to me the 3rd time. Whenever something comes to me 3 times, I know I'm supposed to say it, so I guess I'm supposed to say it. There's something I call the weave of the universe. We all function in the weave of the universe. What that means is we all have a spot, our own unique spot in the weave of the universe. And what people don't understand is they have their own place in the weave of the universe. It's their own unique place, and it is a weave. And what that means is that people are, it overlaps. People are connected to you uniquely. Whatever your gifts are, whatever your unique life experience is, that's not for you to go and take that and hold it over in the corner somewhere. You live in the weave of the universe like the rest of us, and there's people connected to you in the weave of the universe that need exactly what you have to offer. Whether you've written a book, got a PhD, it's naturally born in you with your giftedness and your life experience. So everybody has the capacity to do this. It's not reserved for the elite at all. And so I hope that one of the things that people get out of coming is that they actually have not just a little bit of value. They have tremendous gifts and effortless brilliance and value to package up and bring to people, again, in that meaningful exchange. And if I can say so, Peter, one of the things that really moves me and why I love doing what I do is because people like Kat come, and I promise you, Peter, if you follow up with Kat, when she comes to the 3-day, she is going to really understand how to take her place in the weave of the universe. And when she takes her place, it gives people around her permission to take their place. There's this misunderstanding that we somehow need to adapt to the market and find who it is that will spend money on this, this, or this, or this. I want you to know that whatever you have inside of you, people need what you have inside of you. You don't have to adapt to the market. There's already a market that exists for you uniquely. Let me explain that, Peter. I didn't go into this today. I quote Seth Godin, who said, they say take market share, I say create the market. And that always resonated with me. We don't have to be greedy. We don't have to take from somebody else's revenue. We can create our own market. And what I do is I take it one step further and say, there's a market for you, and there's a market for you, and there's a market for you. You have your own people. You take your place in the weave of the universe. There's your group of your audience, your market's waiting for you to be brave enough to stand up and aptly communicate your value. And so here's how I explain that in a more tangible way. This is the market, let's say. This is your market. And inside the market, if you've got what I call the 4 things right, there's 2 groups of people that you can build your whole business on if you get the 4 things right. The last thing of the 4 things is make sure you over-deliver to the exaggerated expectations of your clients so that they rave adamantly about you. Not easy to accomplish, but you can when you unpack your unconscious competence. Whole other topic, but you can achieve that simply. So if you got the 4 things right, which means you're generating adamant fans, there's 2 groups of people inside the existing market, your existing market, that you can build your whole business off of. And those 2 people are the early adopters. Is one. The early adopters, they're the people that have to try anything that's new. So if you show up in the market, it means you have to be brave enough to be you. Not like the others. Not like the others. From your giftedness, your life experience, whatever it is, it's yours. You have to show up different because because they'll only try you. The early adopters only try you if you show up sparkly and different and new. And there's another group inside the market that are even larger, and that's the dissatisfied clients. There's lots of people in your industry, in your market, who have spent money inside the market already, and they're unsatisfied. And they're waiting now for somebody different to show up because they know that this didn't work for them. They're waiting for you to show up different. You got to be brave enough to be different. So they can say, yeah. And you got to communicate that value and say, yeah, that's the missing link. That's the one big thing I've been missing. That's what I need. And they'll spend money again with you. And then there's this whole thing. I should write this book called The Half a Step Away Market. And no matter what industry you happen to be in, this is the market again. There's the early adopters and the dissatisfied clients in there that you just roll through the 4 things because they're brave enough to try you, because you're brave enough to be different. They become those that refer other people to you, and that's all you've got to do. But around here is the half a step away market. They haven't entered into the market yet. They have the problem. They want it solved. But they don't see anybody in the market that they resonate with that looks like they're the ones for them to help solve their problem. And it's 1 million people. There's 1 million people sitting outside the market. That's your market. There's 1 million people waiting for you. You don't have to create the market. It already exists. It's just half a step away. You just have to enter the market yourself. You just have to enter the market and go, look at me. I'm different. Here's my case. Here's what I'm saying is the one big thing, the missing link. And then those people that resonate with who are in the half a step away market, they're instantly drawn to you, and you have no competition because you're the one that brought them into the market. So for me, I think one of the things that people get when they come here is that however they show up, it's doable for them.
Brilliant. That's awesome, man. So where do people go to find out more about you? You don't have a website as such, which is pretty funny, I think.
It is funny. Here it is, 2012. Here's why I don't have a website. My business revolves around 80 to 100% referral, and other than Facebook. So here's what I'd encourage. Go to facebook.com/Speaker Shaune. That's facebook.com/Speaker, SPEAKER, and Shaune is SHAUNE. One more time, facebook.com/speaker, and then Shaune is spelled Shaune. If you take a quick scroll through there, what you'll see is a bunch of exactly what I'm talking about. Adamant raving fans, some of them celebrity, some of them just normal people who've had a great life experience, have an unusual gift inside of them to bring forth to the world. No matter how you show up, if you read through there, you'll see plenty of people who had that little aha moment, that shift for them that, hey, not only can I get maximum leverage, not only can I get time and money, but I get to do it from my authentic self, from who I am, that there actually is an audience waiting for me. One more time, facebook.com/speaker, SPEAKER, and Shaune is spelled SHAUNE. Please go there. If you'd like to send me a private message, tell me you're intrigued, and I'll send you my little 2-page overview so you can see the delivery value for $97, and maybe we'll have a shift in perspective for you that you too will know we can take your gift, your experience, your accumulated wisdom, and turn that into maximum leverage so you can have time and money. Peter, I don't think I've ever ranted quite so well. Thank you very much.
Excellent, man. You've been an awesome guest, man. I really appreciate it. Guys, the link that Shaune was just saying there's going to be just down below in the notes. Normally what I do is I take your About page and put it there, but you don't even have a website, so I can't do that.
No.
No, it's been awesome, man, and thanks for the day, and thanks for everything you've taught me. Just by spending time with you, man, like my life is better for the experience.
Thank you very much, Peter. Thank you very much.
See you guys.
Yeah.